This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a relook at Edgewater, Saskatchewan. But before that, this video is brought to you by Patrick Cornier and Schultz Modding. Thank you for being farm barons. So approximately 9 months ago, we took a look at a map called Edgewater, Saskatchewan. It was a Facebook release, and therefore it was for PC players only. At the time, I rated that map a score of 3.5 out of 5. Let's now take a look at the reimagined Edgewater, Saskatchewan, 9 months later, now available on the Giants Mod Hub, and as such, given the fact that this is the 1.0 release on the Giants Mod Hub, this map is available for all platforms. Now let's read a little bit of the description. Welcome to Edgewater, Saskatchewan, showcasing some of the unique aspects of farming in the Saskatchewan, Canada. Working around sloughs, ditches, and trees are a day-to-day task on the map. Ditching may be an investment for your farm, which will allow you to open up the fields, expand your acres. Snow is no joke, so be careful. Roads are slick. Don't get stuck. This map includes 7 farms, one of which is a cow farm. The other 6 are all arable farms, 53 fields with unique shapes, over 10 sell points, 3 new crops in flax, lentils, and peas, several swathable crops in wheat, barley, oat, flax, and canola. And if you happen to swath the crop as opposed to use the traditional grain harvesting header, you will get a 20% yield bonus. There is a custom co-op used to purchase seed, fertilizer, herbicide, and lime, custom train and traffic. We have custom water sources on the map, flax bales, and a custom TMR mixture. Grain can be used in the feed mix, custom precision farming soil map, custom crop counter with tons of snow during the winter. Now this map includes 2 required mods. Those required mods are the Crop Inputs Cooperative and the Pickup Header, both by BC Bueller. Now, in addition to those 2 mods, we are going to take a look at the map with all of our normal required mods. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. I will say, if you load this map up with farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find that the main farm is exactly how you see it here in new farmer mode, with the exception you do not own any land, nor do you own any machinery at the start in those play modes. In fact, all of the other farms are also built out exactly how you see them here in new farmer mode. Now, let's see how this map differs from the first time we took a look at it. First thing I will notice is some of the sheds and the bins have definitely been swapped out from what they were in the initial release. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Overall, I would say the PDA is mostly the same. What we have is some very, very irregularly shaped fields. If we take a look at the lands area, you'll see we start out by owning farmland ID number 2, as well as farmland ID 21, which is the main starting farm. Main starting farm can be bought for $243,120, 6 acres in size. Farmland ID number 2 is $275,000 and is 37.75 acres in size, and that is making up the entirety of Field 1. This map does have all the standard crop types available to us in Farm Sim 22, in addition to flax, peas, and lentils. In fact, we do have some lentils already growing on the map. We also have some peas growing on the map, which is always great to see, as well as some flax. I always like to see maps that have custom crops, having those grow on the map when you load in for the very first time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lands area, because there are some other farms on the map. As I said, we have our starting farm at Farm ID 21. We also have a farm at Farm ID 30 for $517,000. We have a farm at Farm ID 8, which is $141,000. We have a farm at Farm ID 22, which is $583,000. We have a farm at Farm ID 27 for $295,000. And finally, we have a farm ID at farm ID number 51. That is for $368,000. Now, the astute among you may notice that this area has also a farm ID of 1. That actually represents the unbuyable land, which is the road network, as well as the town area that is to the north and to the southwest of the map. And that can be bought for $1.2 million if you do wish to do something with the town area to the north and to the southwest, as well as the road network itself. In addition to those farms, there are bins located at very distinct areas around the map. We have some grain bins at Farm ID 7 for $90,500. We have some bins located at Farm ID 33 for $31,000. And then lastly, we have some bins located at Farm ID 11 for $436,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. Farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the viable farmlands on the map, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any fields, which field or fields are included, and then ultimately how much those farmlands are going to cost. Now that we've taken a look at the farm lands, let's go ahead and take a look at our field calculator screen. Field calculator screen is going to show us all of the viable fields and specifically how big each individual field is. We can always then compare the field number with the farmland ID number for which that field is represented, and then see how much it's going to cost to buy any one of these given fields. We do have a custom crop counter on this map, as you can see. Here we have our flax, pea, and lentils plant and harvesting seasons. Overall, we have a very, very narrow planting season and a somewhat narrow harvesting season for most of our crops. Now, taking a look at our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that we can grow in Farm Sim 22. We also have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, wood chips, silage, hay, straw, and grass. Now, as we move down through our productions, though, there is a little bit of a snafu. We do not have the ability to sell fabric nor clothing. And when I took a look back at the original Edgewater map video from 9 months ago, I'm pretty sure we also did not have the ability to sell fabric or clothing. Now, that might not be a typical issue, except one of the built-in productions on this map is a spinnery that is going to be making your fabric. In addition to that, we also do not have the ability to sell cereal. We also do not have the ability to sell our planks, nor do we have the ability to sell our furniture. And once again, we have guess what? A sawmill built into the map. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime. We also have the ability to sell our stones. And then we have our 3 new crops in flax, peas, and lentils. And then we also have the introduction of flax straw. Now, with respect to the platinum expansion, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items. That will not affect the score, and that has been represented by having the standard FS22 logo on the thumbnail, as opposed to the platinum expansion thumbnail logo on the thumbnail. But if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability to sell our separated manure. We start out with a fairly minimal list of starting equipment. All of it is new, none of it is leased, and all of it is owned. We do not own any animals at the start. In fact, there's only one built-in animal area on the map. That is a cow barn. We do have contracts available, and we do not own any production chains at the start. And then lastly, this map does not have any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the John Deere 4755 medium tractor, as well as the Massey Ferguson 3670. We have the RSM 2375 large tractor. We have our Superliner 6x4 semi that is then paired up with the Distinction Super B pull trailer for our semi trailer. And you can see that has been set up to work with our new crops in our lentils, our peas, and our flax. We also have the New Holland CH7.70 harvester. And again, that is what we're going to use to harvest our lentils, our flax, and our peas. We're going to work with the Verifeed 28-foot grain header. And again, that has been set up for flax, peas, and lentils harvesting. We have our 1986 pickup truck. We also have the PowerFlex 95 disc harrow. We have the Solitar 12 seeder. We have the Navigator 4000 Delta Force Hardy herbicide and liquid fertilizer sprayer. We have the Quickie Q6M front loader arms. And for those front loader arms, we have the pallet fork and universal bucket. Then we round it all out with the Conveyall 1690 belt, as well as the TL 1239 auger. Now, if we take a look at our mods and DLCs area, you will see that there are no custom vehicles or mods that are a part of the map. But if we take a look, we do have the 2 required mods in the pickup header pack. And this is going to work with our flax seed as well as our other straws. And then also the grains that we mentioned. We're going to be able to pick up wheat, barley, oat, flax, and canola that has been swathed or basically mowed when in a ready to harvest state. Then we also have under the cooperative inputs, we have a big IBC tank of herbicide for $2,400 and a IBC tank of liquid fertilizer for $3,200. Let's take a look at our starting farm. In new farmer mode, we do start out here, which is farm ID 21, as we said earlier, right by field 1. We have a farmhouse with sleep trigger. Got our shed with some of our tractors and implements. And then the rest of our implements and such are going to be located in this shed here. You will need to open the door from the outside, come inside, and then you can open the large door. Got our harvest header. So is our cultivator. And then we have a little shed here around back. Now, with respect to the farms being customizable, we can sell the sheds. We can also sell the grain bins. But what we cannot sell is, in fact, we cannot sell on any of the farms. We can't sell the farmhouse. In addition, we often cannot sell any of the decorative elements that are scattered around the farm, like the trash over here by the trees. We can't get rid of the power lines. Where there are fences, we typically can remove the fences around fields and also around the farms. So on this farm, for example, we can remove this fence located right here and over there. And then if you happen to find some fields with fences, we can also typically get rid of those, assuming we own the land. Now here are the grain bins that we're going to find scattered around a lot of the various farms. I looked and I'm not sure if there is a trigger at the top. I assume that there is a trigger at the top. What we're going to do is we're going to walk up here at the output. We're going to get an open cover. And then it's going to open the top cover there. Since we do start out with some augers, I'm assuming we have to put the auger up there to put grain into the bin. And then, of course, pull out of the bin down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the build mode. So in the build mode, we do have some custom buildings and sheds that are a part of this map. Got a pole shed. We got some huts. Got our workshop. Machine shed. For our silos, we do have some custom silos that are, again, part of the map. Notice lots of these do not rotate on center. As far as containers go, here we have a custom water trigger. We will find this water trigger scattered around the map in some various locations. Here we have the required mod, which is the Crop Inputs Cooperative. This one, for example, has the ability to produce liquid fertilizer and herbicide, as well as allow you to buy bulk liquid fertilizer and herbicide. We have the ability to buy bulk fertilizer. And then we have the ability to produce seed and or buy bulk seed with this one. We do have some custom production built into the map. In fact, we have a grain mill. And then we have a custom spinnery. And you will notice that the spinnery is set up to accept flax straw as well. No custom sell points, greenhouses, orchards, or generators. All of our animal areas are base game animal areas. We've got all standard decorative elements. And then if we take a look at our ground textures, our paintable ground textures, we've got some fairly standard paintable ground textures in our animal mud, our asphalt, our dirt, forest ground, grass, and gravel. Fairly standard plants. And then we have fairly standard trees. Now let's go ahead and get back up here because once again, I have failed to take a look at the soil map. This has to be one of the most intricate soil maps that I have seen to date. We can see with respect to the waterways, we've got a lot of sandy loam soil very close to those. Then off of those waterways, we have either loam or silty clay, depending on the area. And then beyond that, we have some loamy sand. Let's go ahead and kind of take to the skies. We'll do a little bit of a pan around the map at the same time. Now, with respect to production, there are 7 production areas built into the map. We have a bakery, we have a dairy, spinnery, grain mill, sawmill. Then we have the chemical shed and the seed shed. Those are also productive elements. Now, as we said earlier, we do have a spinnery that will make fabric, but for whatever reason, we do not have the ability to sell fabric, nor do we have the ability to sell clothing on the map. We also have a sawmill, and that sawmill will produce planks, but we do not have the ability to sell those planks, nor do we have the ability to sell the further processed furniture from those planks. So here we have our starting farm. Then I think what we're going to do is maybe work our way around the map in a clockwise direction, or maybe a counterclockwise direction, sorry. So as we make our way to the northern area of the map, I did mention that there were some grain bins that were over here kind of off to themselves. Those are going to be right here past this tree line. We have a deco shed that we cannot sell next to those. Then we have another 2-door hut building. We can sell the bins and we can sell the hut. We have the arable farm located right here. We can sell everything on the arable farm with the exception of the junk behind the shed, and we cannot sell the farmhouse area. Now, none of the farms other than the starting farm have sleep triggers, but they are pretty obviously part of the farm. They are off to the side typically, so it won't affect the score too terrible much with respect to the farms being somewhat customizable. As I mentioned, we have our custom water triggers, and here is one of those such water triggers. Let's just kind of follow this river up into town. And into town, we have our stone crusher. We have our spinnery. We have a sell point here at the farmer's market. Another sell point at the diner. We have our fuel stop. Then around the side, we have a grain sell point. Now there's a farm right south of this kind of northern town. This is purely a deco farm. We cannot sell any of the buildings that are on that farm. So we will be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in, because we do have a decent amount of production built into the map. Way over here by field 13, this is the cow farm. This is the only farm on the map that has an animal area built in. We have some grain bins. We have our hut. We have our unsellable farmhouse. Then we have our cow building right here, and then the cow pasture. We'll take a closer look at that during the drive around portion of the map video. Then we have another town down here to the southwest. We have our animal dealer. We have our vehicle dealer. This is going to be a sell point as well as a train transfer silo. So this map does have a train sell point. So there we have our dump and fill points for the train. We have our trailer dump and fill points here at the train silo. Then we have the train silo sell point. We have our grain mill production. We have our bakery production, our dairy production down here. And then over here we have our seed production. And while we're over here, let's go ahead and talk about our seed production. So for $20,000, we can buy the seed shed. Now, if we don't own the seed shed, we can come down here and we can simply buy seed located right there. But if we own the seed shed as far as production goes, let me show you something. For 0 units of seed input, you will get 20,000 units of seed output. There are 24 cycles per month. So if you are playing on a 1-day month cycle, that is going to be 20,000 liters worth of seed every hour. Now, do note that this does come with a very significant production cost of $336,000 per month. So if you are once again playing on a 1-day month, that's $336,000 to operate this production facility for the entire 24-hour day period. Now you notice, while I have been talking here, we have been producing seed. We just spit out a pallet. You see here we have totes of seed. 1,584 liters of seed. Now the intent, and I read the description of the mod here, the intent is to simulate buying seed in these large totes. So that's why there is such a significant production cost, is because we are basically simulating the cost of buying these seed totes. Now, of course, one could just leave this production running 24/7 and come in here and sell seed if you wanted to, because this map does allow you to sell seed, or once you have enough seed produced, then you could come in here and simply deactivate the production on this thing, and then you wouldn't have to worry about constantly running up such a massive bill. Now, in addition to this facility, we also then have the fertilizer facility. And the fertilizer facility can be bought for $10,000. And just like the seed facility, take a look at that production. For herbicide, we take 0 units of input and make 20,000 units of output. Again, if we are playing 1 day months, that is going to be 1 hour. We're going to get 20,000 liters worth of herbicide, but it is going to come at a cost. $432,000 to run this plant 24 hours a day just to make herbicide. Now, with respect to liquid fertilizer, once again, 0 liquid fertilizer inputs are going to give you 20,000 liters of liquid fertilizer outputs. Again, 24 cycles per month. So on a 1 day month gameplay, we're talking about 20,000 liters per game hour. But this time, if we run this particular production recipe for 24 straight hours, it's going to cost us $600,000. Now, of course, you could leave this running 24/7 and sell all your liquid fertilizer, but it is going to be a fairly significant expense to do that. Let's go ahead and deactivate these production items because, as you can see, we do get IBC tanks that spawn in here. We have 2,000 liters of herbicide and 2,000 liters worth of fertilizer spawned in while we were simply talking about this particular mod. Now, if you just want to buy bulk liquid fertilizer or herbicide, you can do that by coming over here to the side bins. Then we have the fertilizer and lime tank, our building. This building is not buyable production. It is simply a bulk buy point, and here's where you're going to buy your bulk lime and solid fertilizer. Here we have another grain sell point on this side of the tracks. Here we have some NPC sell point areas. One located below. Another one located right here. Here's one of the areas I mentioned that just has some grain bins located on this buyable plot of land. So once you buy that, you'll be able to use it as a grain bin for grain storage. Another one of the buyable farms is located below. There's another one located over there. We'll take a look at that during the drive around portion. One of our custom water triggers is going to be located right there. And then we'll loop around to the final 2 areas we're going to take a look at during the flyover portion. Another player farm. And then right next to that one, we have another player farm. And then lastly, down here at Farmland 33, we've got a series of grain bins that are situated just waiting for you to buy them and make use of them. Now, at that grain bin area, we can sell the bins if we own that land, but there is some decorative junk behind the bins that we cannot sell. So with respect to being the farmlands being customizable, or the farms being customizable, all the farms at Farmland 21, 38, 22, 27, and 51. Let's take a look at this custom train. Canadian Railway. That's some pretty cool. Reskinned the train cars and everything. So at those farms, we typically can sell everything at those farms with the exception of decorative trash and the farm houses. As such, we are going to be giving the map 3/4 of a point. with respect to farms being customizable. With respect to the ability to sell all of our basic crops, production items, and animal outputs, since we do not have the ability to sell our fabric or clothes, cereal, planks, or furniture, that is 5 items. That's going to fall within the 1/4 of a point deduction. So we are also going to give the map just 3/4 of a point with respect to that scoring metric. Now down here at our vehicle shop, let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. We'll see where our vehicle spawns in at. We have a fairly large area there for our vehicles to spawn in at, which is good because we've got some fairly sizable fields on this map. And here we have our dealer, customize, repair, sale, trade, and repaint trigger. We do not have markers located here, but I can tell you that the trigger is basically right in front of this door. Right across the street from the vehicle shop, we have our animal dealer. Let's go ahead and check that out. And as I said earlier, on the map, we only have one animal area on the map that is a cow farm or a cow point. And here we have our sell point down at the animal dealer for bales and such. So here we have the train transfer silo. This is going to be our dump and fill point for trailers. And then around the side, we have the other bay, and this is going to be a sell point area to sell at the train silo. We have our flour mill, fairly standard base game flour mill, for a dump point, interactive trigger, and pallet spawn point. We have our fairly standard dairy. We have our interactive trigger, pallet spawn point, and dump point. We have our icon to rent the train. We have our bakery. So we've got our dump point and our pallet spawn point around the back. We have our interactive trigger at the front door. We've already talked about the seed production here. Now we do not have a pallet spawn point location here. I do know that this is a mod. It is not necessarily affecting the map, but it is missing the kind of interactive icons or pallet spawn points at least. We're looking for fertilizer and herbicide points. Again, we're missing the markers indicating where these pallets are going to spawn in at. We can buy our bulk product here around the side. We can buy our solid fertilizer and lime. Now let's run back here to the seed real fast because I failed to mention that we do have a usable forklift at this particular facility. So this forklift is usable. I didn't think we had some seed there, but you know what? I wanted to check just in case. There you go. And then you can see across the road from the seed production area here, we have our sawmill. Fairly standard FS22 sawmill. We have our dump point. We have our wood cell trigger. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our interactive trigger. Around the back, we have our wood chip point. And then we have our bowling alley. The bowling alley is going to be a cell point right there. Now, with respect to buildings and interactive areas using the new texturing technique, ground textures using the new texturing technique, we are going to give the map a full point there because, well, we do have pretty much standard FS22 buildings, and where we don't have those standard buildings, we do have what appear to be the new building textures using the parallax occlusion and the occlusion culling. This is going to be our cow farm. So we can sell the fencing around here. We can sell all the buildings, all of the bins, minus the farmhouse. So we have our food trough. Going to assume that this is going to be our milk trigger until I find something otherwise. We do have the ability to sell this building as well, although we do not have a custom building put back down. 120 cows in this area. Let's go ahead and take a look at our feed requirements. Fairly standard here. Now, the map did list that we have custom TMR mixtures. So let's just go ahead and get a TMR mixer and see what we've got here as far as our mixing ratios. We've got hay, we've got silage, we've got flax straw. I assume maybe we could put regular straw in there as well. And then we have wheat as an option with respect to our TMR mix. I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of leave that up there for a little bit. Yeah, let's see here. Let's just do a little in-cab driving on our way over to the next farm. There we have the bins that we could buy and make use of to the right. We're going to make our way over here to the farm that is just beside fields 33 and 32. We got our machine shed. A large grain silo. Our dump and fill points. We have a usable shed here on the right. We have a deco buildings over here on the left. And then we have our farmhouse. Once again, we can sell everything on the everything on the farm except the farmhouse and the utility poles and the trash. Got the bins down there. Let's make our way up to the next player farm. This map would be a pretty interesting multiplayer map. I do know that there is at least one multiplayer server on our Discord that has already begun playing on this particular map. That is a cross-play server. I think they've limited it to 4 farms just for maintaining slot count. I did have success, I think I mentioned this earlier, I did have success with deleting the fences along the fields if you own the farmland that the fences are on. Here we are, next player farm. Once again, the house here, the deco, the garage, those are all permanent. But we can sell these grain bins as well as the shed. Continue to make our way up the north. Be curious to know what you all are thinking with respect to this map. Did you play Edgewater earlier when it released on Facebook for PC? If so, how do you feel that this map in this iteration compares to the original Edgewater from the Facebook release? There we have our custom water trigger. Now, our starting farm is down that road. There we have another arable farm. We cannot sell the farmhouse, but we can sell the grain system here. We have our dump and fill points. Our large machine shed. We cannot sell the trash behind the building, but we can sell the building there as well. And then if we move a little bit further east, we're going to find that we have some grain bins by field 31. These can also be sold if you wish. And then we have a usable double-doored building right there. Now let's make our way over to the town in the northwest corner of the map. And I guess I'll say, while we're on our way over there, we might as well kind of wrap up the score. With respect to player and interactive areas being clearly marked, we are going to deduct, once again, a quarter of a point. So that is going to be a quarter of a point deducted for the crops and sell points and production items. quarter point for farms being customizable, and a quarter point with respect to the player interactive areas being clearly marked. So that's going to put this map at a total score of 4.25 out of 5. If you remember, I mentioned that the original release of this map over on Facebook, when we looked at it about 9 months ago, I gave the map a score of 3.5 out of 5. So we have brought it up 3/4 of a point between then and now. The map still has a few little things going on that ultimately have affected the score. If we had the ability to sell our fabric and our clothing and our cereal, our planks and our furniture, then the map would have gotten a score of 4.5 out of 5. If we had the ability to sell the farmhouses and the decorative trash that is on the farms, the map would have gotten a score of 4.5 out of 5. If we had the indicators at the vehicle shop and on the seed production and the fertilizer production, liquid fertilizer and herbicide, the map would have gotten a score of 4.5 out of 5. Had it had all of those fixed, this would have been a 5 out of 5 map. Now, they're little things. Are they game breaking? No, they're not game breaking at all. But they are part of how we score these maps. So here we have a grain sell point. The extreme northwest corner of the map. We have our farmers market sell point for pallets and grain. We have our spinnery. So we have an interactive icon. We have our dump point and pallet spawn point for our fabric. If you do want to do cotton, or if you have sheep and therefore have wool, or if you are doing flax straw, because the spinnery here will take the flax and make fabric out of that. Let's go ahead and show you that part. So here we have fabric from wool, fabric from cotton, and fabric from flax straw. But again, we don't have the ability to sell that flax. It really frustrates me because we've got a modified spinnery that's going to take the custom flax straw and make fabric. But we don't have a tailor to take that fabric and make into clothing. That's fine. But we also then don't have the ability to sell our fabric. Would like to have seen that get corrected. So here we have Mama Joe's Diner. We have our vehicle, or not our vehicle, but our fueling point. And that is pretty much everything. There's two things that we didn't cover. So let's just kind of jump down there real fast and talk about those. Here we have a bale sell point at this AI player farm. And we are down here, just south of field 45. Here is the farm where we started. This is where our vehicle shop is located. And then just to the east of that, we also have Brenda's Fresh Produce. This is another player, or NPC style player farm with decorative buildings. And we have our dump point there. So guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below for this revisit of Edgewater. Are you going to play the map? Are you glad to see it get released? What would you have scored the map? Are you interested in pea harvesting, flax harvesting, or lentil harvesting? What do you think of the ability to swath your crops and then harvest those with the pickup header for a 20% bonus? And until next time, happy farming.